Well, there's that part that says, I wish, I wish, I wish. I wish I could make a wish to a shooting star and fix all this, but I can't. But what I can do is make it clear that when you choose to let bad things happen, you become used to it. And the next thing you do is partake in it. So turning a blind eye to something that goes wrong eventually creates the situation to where it's okay for you to do something that's wrong. Nobody cares. Marcos, I should have stood up to you. I should have stood up to Dina Badil. I should have stood up to Tony Fish. I should have stood up to my cousin Sam Fitzwater. I should have stood up to a lot of these people, but instead I was too nice. And that is how the wheel of sadness, suffering, and sorrow got me. And I've spent a life with my kids suffering because I didn't want to face these people and these things. And now Marcos, who's on his high horse, dressed up looking like Tony Fish, playing a song to Mandy just to let me know, hey, you don't matter. What you went through doesn't matter. Who you were doesn't matter. Now, I asked him so many times, on and off throughout our occasional talks, why it's so hard for him just to admit that he's wrong and say he's sorry. Pride. His pride. And I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but I'm not easing up. I'm going to let the world know that there is a deadly sin that they've kept hidden from you, and that's sadness, sorrow, and suffering. And other people, because suffering sells, other people are benefiting from your sadness, your suffering, and your sorrow. When you stop laughing, like the customer's always right, when you stop laughing and making fun of people, then it's not funny. The joke's only funny when the people entertain the joke. Like my mom said, oh, Lord Grey gets to laugh at his daughter in the grave. You are a living joke. Yeah. I married a priest who left me for a man. A gay priest. It's like the longest historical joke there is, right? And Marcos doesn't want the world to know that. And he doesn't want to tell the world that he took demons, because then he's got to discuss, well, then how have you been managing those demons? Don't they come back? Don't they come back for you? Yes. Marcos knows they do. Every day. And he's indulged them and danced with them and played with them and entertained people and given me as the horror story and the monster, so people come after me. And I sat quietly. And this is sad. But he will eventually have to face what he's done, just like my family, just like my brother, just like Dina, just like so many others. Even poor Denise Oliveri from Mountain State School of Massage turned her back on me finally. She's like, I can't do it. I can't be a part of witnessing your sadness, suffering, and sorrow anymore. And it's impacting my life. I can't have you on my couch because Bruce Martin will show up. And now everybody knows how dangerous Bruce Martin is, but nothing has ever been done about him. He spends a little time in jail and comes out and spreads more what? Sadness, suffering, and sorrow. Now, we're going to face this. Sowilo, this nice, huge curse that Hitler has put on the human race to help perpetuate sadness, suffering, and sorrow. And we've done it with our entertainment. We've done it all across the board. Okay? Happily ever after stories are not what's selling. Horror stories are. We are indulging in sadness, suffering, and sorrow. And these people on top of the mountain, they're not. Marcos Dreher is not. I just brought the truth to Marcos and made him see what he has left me in. Why would a man who took all these demons from me, why would a man who's supposed to be a professional psychologist want to allow someone else to suffer and then claim he's in danger? I can barely work the computer. All his friends, he's got people that are hackers, that are computer geeks, that are security professionals. I can barely run a computer. Dina Medill's husband does security. I can barely run a computer, and they're making me out to be the cyber predator. Think about it. Sadness, suffering, and sorrow. That's what I've survived for 45 years. And that's the plague that Hitler has cast upon the human race as well. Have a blissful day. Think about it. Don't give in to temptations, and be nice. Random acts of kindness for no reason than you can. I got extra $20. Go spend it on someone you don't know. Leave it on a counter for someone to find. Give it to a little kid. Random acts of kindness. That's the only way we can overcome this, is to become disgusted with the suffering. Become disgusted with the sadness, become disgusted with the sorrow, and not scoff and look our nose down at it, but open up our purses. Build little places for people to live, okay? Don't let the sadness, suffering, and sorrow consume the human race any further. We're hurting ourselves. They're saying that the United States is improving, unemployment's improving. We have the most millionaires and billionaires ever. We also have an increasing amount of homeless people. Why is that? Why do we have the most wealth ever and the most homeless suffering people ever and the most homeless suffering youth ever? Think about it. Just think about it. And before you make fun of somebody like Mandy Fish, go enjoy your love affair with Jesus. Think about the hate you're spreading. Not nice is not nice. And the fates kept me, and the benevolent powers that be kept me at home, so I did not go to the zoo on 2/6/2024, so they could let me stay alive and heal and observe and manifest a connection to the outcomes of this dark magic that Marcos and my family and others are a part of, that is providing them with prosperity and wealth and pleasure principles. Think about it. Over a year later, Marcos and Dina Medill and them are all still screaming. $5,000 would have kept my child, my animals together, and put me in a clean place to live without bugs, and helped me get my life together. They wouldn't do it. My family wouldn't even help me get a hold of VA resources to get me relocated away from them. They didn't want me away from them. They wanted me where they could mess with me and torture me. And Marcos and his friends have money and passports, and they just came here making a mockery of me. Ground zero here where Kim Van Nimowich and Fitzwater is. Okay, I'm done with it. And now all of you guys who have got to sit in your comfortable life and make fun of people that you helped fuel their suffering, eventually you are going to have to be in the position where you laughed. He who laughed last. Understand, it's nothing to be funny. This isn't funny. Marcos rose to power and got successful director of strategic intelligence on a whole year of me suffering at my worst. Lost my child. Demoniac possession. Are you serious? With a caseworker whose name is Marissa, like his Marissa Dreher, 4/10/1972. Let's not forget that. Marissa is not a common name in the United States. How did I end up with a Northampton crisis worker when I called for the ambulance on 11/06/2022 because my kid decided, I'm going to find someone to murder me since you won't. Of course I won't. I'm her mother. I'm going to kill her. 3 nights and 4 days of that. Nobody wanted to help. put her in an ambulance, and the crisis worker I get's name is Marissa, and she keeps asking me, so you think your kid's possessed by a demon, do you? I don't know. I'm not the professional Marcos Dreher is. And this crisis worker, whose name Marissa, will not even hardly speak to me or talk to me, won't say my name, won't talk to anybody around me, and hurried up and got off the phone inside the vehicle with me, with Kristen Sansosti, my only support system and caseworker, when I got out of the hospital on January 24th, 2023, to find out that my ex-husband's mentor, the Pope Benedict XVI, is dead. And I'm like, I went in the hospital on the 29th with my heart going out, nervous breakdown. Now the Pope's dead and I've lost everything. And what is Marcos doing? Why is this happening? And why is everybody still just laughing at me? Understand, this will come out. No, I don't think Marcos Dreher knows Alanis Morissette and played with her. I think it's a quantum reflection. Sort of like one of those weird deja vus. And ironically, she's 3 years and 13 days exactly younger than me. And ironically, exactly what she says in her song is how Marcos impacted me. Made me think about spirituality, about how to be direct. But he didn't help me to stop from being hard on myself. Marcos Dreher threw me to the wolves to die and left me lay where he wants everyone else to leave me to. Think about that. Not a compassionate psychologist and not a good shepherd saving a soul who's already got their soul saved. Why is Marcos acting this way? Marcos Dreher's soul's gone, and he's being cruel and promoting sadness, suffering, and sorrow instead of helping.